Hello, Mr. Malloy. Welcome to our Manor Project done by me, Russell Endres, and
Me, Elias Pulling.
here we have the name of our manor. It is named Manerium de Morbo Siorsum, which directly translates from Latin to Manor of Quarantine. Here
Pretty
we
fitting
have
name.
our manor's coat of arms, which represents the knights and the peasants and the manor and its facilities in total.
And then once you take a stroll through the woods, you arrive at the fields. On your left, you see the fields that were just recently planted, and they will be ready by, I don't know, next season. And then here is the fallow field, which, resting field. They don't want to destroy the nutrients in the dirt. And then once you go farther up, you see the field that is ready for harvest. It has been maturing for a while. The wheat has been maturing for a while, and it is now the peasants are now getting ready to harvest it all and store it for winter.
So, further up here, we have our peasant housing. There's many of these around the place. They're a small little quaint cottage that don't have the best, walls and floorings and stuff like that. But they got, a stove to keep the peasant warm, a chest for their belongings, crates for food and stuff like that, and a bed on the floor with straw underneath to be able to sleep on. Over here,
Yeah.
we have our pasture, which currently Elias is standing in. Here we have
Ooh.
cows and sheep around the place. As you can see, there are a couple scattered about. Inside here, we have the barn, which stores the animals at nighttime, and additionally stores the hay and barrels containing grain and stuff for the animals. Alright, let's continue. Here we have a higher income housing. We have usually for lords and nobles.
Nobles.
We have writing utensils and stuff like that. Stuff that usually a peasant would normally have. And this man has quite a few books seeking knowledge, I see. Alright, more peasant housing to the left and to the right. Alright, we're going to be coming up here. Here we have a tavern. Elias is serving up mead to those who come along,
And wine.
and wine, if
Mm,
you'd like some.
people would gather here as a way of just getting together, getting to see each other in like when normally it would be kind of difficult. And then up here we have storage areas, we have areas to sleep in case someone wants to rent an inn. Normally that would be people like who are travelers, adventurers, people like knights errant, people who aren't necessarily in their own kingdom who need an area to get away to.
Yep. Over
And
here
then
we have the peasant church. Here we have various different pews um, for sitting in this rather crude church. And the, uh, the word of the the Lord
is with
is
you.
pronounced to the citizens. Um, that's where they
And
congregate on Sundays.
yeah, and then across this bridge we have the logging area where they would chop wood. They would they would trim down the trees. They would make it so people could sleep. They would just go chop chop chop. Cut down quite a few trees. The forests near the castle were almost always deforested quite a lot. Wasn't great for the environment, but it was.
They were well trimmed,
Yeah, they were rather well trimmed, but there was always enough, and they never
but
they never overdid it.
But of course, there's still this deep dark woods where the king and knights and various different nobles and lords and stuff would hunt for game and provide for
Yeah,
food.
for feasts and stuff.
Hmm.
And
Which
that
we are
river back
currently
there,
preparing for.
yes, that river back there was, quite dirty because they would constantly dump their garbage, um, the stuff from
Waste.
their bathrooms in here, their waste, yeah. Um, and so if you drank out of there, you'd probably get pretty sick. So people either drank mead or drank from this well.
Yep. Keep them hydrated. All right. Up here we have the kiln house. This is where pots and glass and clays and terracotta and stuff like that are heated up in the kiln to be able to be used for various activities and various items, and flower pots for flowers, and cups and bowls and various different stuff uh, that they can be used for. Up here we have the bakery. This is where wheat that is made in the mill house granary is brought, and it's made into various things like cakes, which can be sold in the market. And we have bread that's currently being on the stove in the oven, being cooked. Over here we have the market. Various different things are sold. Horse goods like armor and saddles. We got
The cakes from the bakery,
yep,
they would
cakes,
maybe sell
flowers,
those.
rare gemstones, just all sorts of goods, supplies, curios, um, books, paintings,
Rather,
things
you
for
know,
people to purchase in general.
rather interesting things. Yeah,
Over here we have the
mm,
clothing store. This is
where
where
they would where they would buy their tunics and their jerkins or gherkins or whatever they're called. The yeah,
yep,
tunics and jerkins, and they would buy pants and hats there.
here they got colorful clothing on sale currently because of the current jousting event and it being a
Mm-hmm.
quite festivus
I'm
day
excited. Yeah,
with a
it's an
feast
exciting day.
happening later tonight. All right,
Yeah, it's an exciting day.
over here we have the dock, uh, the
And the
boat.
fishermen.
Yep, the fishermen. This is where fish is caught, and this lake is rather deep and a little large. Uh, and so, you know, this is where they get their fish, and this is where the river starts over here. If we take a look over here, we have a dam that kind of controls the water flow. We have some water gates here that control the flow of a water wheel, which in turn, if entering the mill, will turn this large wheel to turn the wheat into flour. So here we got bags of flour and piles of flour developing down here where it would be scooped up and brought to the bakery and cooked for bread to be rationed out to the peasants.
Yep. And then here we witness a witch burning.
Yep.
Um, they they saw her doing a they saw her removing her thumb magically, so they decided to put her to the torch.
Yeah,
A little bit extreme, if you ask me, but
that's
what
true.
can you do?
And her husband's a little sad, but you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
what you gotta do.
There's,
You gotta do what you
you
gotta
gotta do
do.
what you gotta do. Yeah. Then here we have the forge, where you can see they are um making they're forging new swords, they're forging new blades, scythes for the peasants, the workers.
Got tools
It's
hanging up right here.
yeah, it's a pretty intense place to be heat wise. Interesting
Provides a lot of the armor and stuff like that to be given to
to
knights and
reward.
the
Yeah.
king and guards.
Mm.
All right,
Suffice it to say, these two blacksmiths are rather well paid.
let's continue up more towards the manor. Here we have the orchard. This orchard is an apple orchard. You got various different apple trees all around with, apples aplenty. Today's harvest has already been harvested. These are probably going to be used in the feast. Um,
Haven't finished the job though. They still have apples hanging.
yeah, still got some apples hanging. Some of them are still developing, so they got to be harvested in the future. All right. Up here, we have the entrance to the manor. Quite grand, if you ask me.
Yeah, there's a feast going on. Peasants, the servants rather, are starting to put out food so that the king and the lord and his people can eat after the jousting event.
Yep.
Which we will see later.
So, yeah, got various different foods: melons, hams, cakes, wine, many different types of food.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna continue off to the right here. Here we have a guest
Then,
bedroom.
where you can see it is rather it looks rather nice. There's wine in case any rather alcoholic dwarves show up from other kingdoms. There's I'm sorry, I just had to say that. There's it is rather well it's rather nice in general. People are rather happy with it.
Here we have the
they
privy. Yeah,
yeah.
you gotta do what you gotta do. Obviously, you don't go that far down in, but that's how the king does his business, not at a desk.
Yep. And then up here is the church.
This is the royal church. Obviously,
It's a little church. It's where
much
the
more,
lords and ladies
much
would
more well
attend.
furnished compared
Mhm.
to the peasant
Um,
church.
Huge stained glass window in the back,
You
and as you might be able to tell, the colors of this manor are indeed purple.
can see the jousting
Um,
event happening outside.
yeah.
We'll be heading over to that soon. Okay. Over here, we have the war room. Here we have guards
Mhm.
planning out various different
Defenses and attacks.
defenses uh, and new places that are going to be built. There are rumors of a future attack happening, but
They
overall,
spotted some scouts, but they did not catch them. So
yep. But you can see the whole manor and the rest of the estate all around, and the river flowing into the lake. It's rather nice.
yeah.
All right, we're gonna head back down the stairs. Here we enter the king's quarters. It's a little darker in here, because it's not currently being used. You got his desk where he writes whatever he wants to write. He's got his bed, a stove, a fireplace right next to him to keep him warm. Here he has his dressing room, where he's got his clothing and boots and stuff like that to wear during various different events. He's currently wearing his most prized gold-plated armor today for the jousting event, since it's such a festivus day. All right. Elias, care to
And yeah,
give
the
us a
library.
description of the library?
Rather nice as it is the Lord's personal library. Him and all of his guests are welcome to access it. They can look through the books. He has a rather extensive collection, having bartered for a lot of them from many of the different places
All
across
across Europe
kingdoms.
and
Yep.
kingdoms. Yep.
And then upstairs, there's his art collection, and yeah,
Some some large
he's
pieces.
yeah,
All right. Let's continue on this way. To the right here, you can see a lot of doors. These are the guards' quarters. This is where they got bunks and they can store their armor and things like that and their clothing uh, for the night. Um, Over here, got the armory. Of
yeah,
course, this is where training gear and full suits of armor, bows and swords are hung up. Of course, all the guards are on duty since it is a feast and jousting day. Uh,
and there's likely to
there's
be
got to be protections, so
yeah,
they are all
crowd,
out and about.
and yeah. If you come down the stairs, you'll see the dungeon.
Yep.
Um, there's a few naughty boys in here.
Naughty
Having
boys. Uh,
having and
just gonna
I
just gonna
think this
ignore that.
yeah, I think that might be
Here we got the torture room.
something.
This is one of the scouts that we found. He's kind of a little beat up, as you may say.
You can say that again.
Here the guards are, on duty looking over stuff. And they got their swords hung up on the racks. All right. Let's head up. So, up here we have one of the towers, which is used to look over the whole of the manor. Oop, having difficulties getting up.
And yeah,
So
you can.
here the guards are on duty. They got their swords, their shields, kind of laying about. They're kind of messing around because it is a nice day, but they still need to be on alert based on what else is happening outside of this area, this kingdom. All right. So we're gonna head back this way, and we're going to uh, enter into the kitchen here.
Yeah, they this is where all the food for the feast that you saw earlier was laid out.
Yep.
Or was made actually. These are some of the people that prepared it and put it out there. You can see things of you can see stews, you can see carrots, smoked meats hanging up, um, all different types of things. People trying to get stuff off the shelves and stuff.
Cakes and
Lantern.
various items.
It's rather well lit in here. Um, they it would with the fire and the numerous lights.
Yep. All right. Let's continue down here. Here we have the food cellar. This food cellar was used to, store all the food, and it's a little damp. You know, you'd think a pipe would be broken, but plumbing wasn't invented yet. Here, got the cheese room.
All the various cheeses.
Got some
Delicious.
brie.
Mm-hmm.
King really liked cheese.
Yes, which is why he had a large number of cows.
Yep.
For the meat. But yeah.
All right, let's continue up this way. As you can see, so through all these, there's these corridors. These are all servants' passageways. You may see, obviously, this is the Great Hall. You may see these doors kind of lying around the place, all around the manor. This is where they all lead to. They lead to these corridors. But if we look down here, we got the buttery, where the butler stores the wine for the king. So when he requests wine or various different supplies, he will provide for him as per request. If continued up here, we have kind of bunks for the servants. They didn't have as nice rooms as the guards nor the king, but they were nice enough
Yeah.
anyways. These are bells. Uh, they
For
are
them to ring and
used to call out to
signal the servants
guards, signal guards all across
and the
the
servants.
castle, the manor. If we continue over here, we have the courtyard. Here the guards are training with wooden swords and with dummies and targets for bows and arrows and various different stuff. Got the exterior wall around here. Uh, Rather uh, good fortitude. If we go down this staircase right here, we can go over to the barn here. Here, the king's horses and
All the
prize,
king's men.
yeah, and the
All the
king's
king's
men.
horses and all the king's men.
Yep. So the nicest horses in the land are stored there, specifically for the king. There was a roof collapse. Kind of fixing that up right now. It's
Yep, they're having
a little
a little
bit
bit
of
of
a mouse problem. They kind of chewed through stuff.
yeah. And then over here you see the stables, um, where the jousting horses and the war horses would be stored. One of them seems to be very intent on being a bunny, but
Yeah,
they're
this
joust.
one's a little excited.
Yeah. It's time for honor because now we get to the jousting area,
Yep.
and here we see two men about to initiate a melee, which would be a fight which started with swords on horseback, and then would eventually progress to just fighting on the ground.
It's just a brawl.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean that's essentially what it became.
Here the
Um,
citizens sitting about. That one looks awfully excited. Uh,
yeah, she's either getting in her daily activities or just very excited. And then up here, we
we
see the
have the
king.
king. Hello, king.
Yeah, he's
He's rather content. Can't wait for the food later on. This is the king's booth. You can walk up in here and sit amongst the king. All right. So this is our Manor Project. It took us about a week.